Banana, relax, buddy. Look, all right. So I want to talk about Silksong, and I want to talk about sequels to games, and I want to talk about the community perception around them lately. We've been waiting for Silksong for a while. The community's been waiting a while, for 5 years now. Yeah, 5 years. That's crazy. And it's just it's insane the hype that is built around it now. It's truly unbelievable. I mean, is there an indie game out there that has had this much hype around it? I don't know. I don't think, and maybe it's today's day and age with, all the showcases, all the spammers, all that stuff. Maybe it's just more visible right now and it's always been like this. But Silksong is definitely a rarity in this world, right? And there's a lot of reasons why, right? And Hollow Knight was a masterpiece, but it also took time to be recognized as one. It got released, and I don't think it wasn't a masterpiece right away. It took some time. I think there's probably a lot of people that loved it right away, but then over time, as content started to go out there, as the community started to grow, it turned into a masterpiece, something that someone like me, who in 2022 kept watching videos of and just being like, oh, I gotta try this game. And then in 2023, finally getting into it, because I tried it once and was like, oh, this is a little tough, let me come back to this. And I kept seeing videos and just being like, wow, this game looks so cool and so interesting. And then I finally got into it and was hooked and just... But yeah, it's just interesting that, that one took some time, and then I think that started to build up this Silksong hype, even more. There's more people like me coming in late that are falling in love with it completely, and the hype is just growing and growing and growing. And so now Silksong, I think, faces a problem. I think it's going to have a lot of eyes on it on day one, which means it's subject to a lot more harsher criticism. And it's also being compared to Hollow Knight, which is a masterpiece. So it's it's already got way more eyes on it, ready to harshly judge it, and it's going to be compared to a masterpiece. So it's it's facing a tough battle off the bat already. Then to be honest, we got to talk about the silence around Silksong. So on paper, we want the team to take their time and to not oversell us on anything. But we want them to take their time and do what they want to do. We want them to fulfill their vision, And silence is the most effective way of doing that, and probably one of the hardest ways of doing that. It's probably not easy for them to not talk about it. So we got to tip our hat and give them some congratulations. But the silence leaves the community guessing. And, there was so much hype built from the original game. But now it's all this hype is being built just off of our own narratives created, based off of 2 trailers. We got 2 trailers, that's it. And both of them are pretty old, but one of them's really old, but yeah, it just leaves us, building our own narratives. And honestly, that's how I kind of got started on YouTube, is being able to talk about these narratives. And so it's interesting, but now it's all this hype is just built off community alone, But it just brings me back to wondering about when release day hits. There's going to be all these eyes on it, and, there's going to be all these eyes that may not even necessarily be, hype fans, It may just be people that are hearing about the hype, wanting to tune in, wanting to know what's going on in the world, in the gaming world, wanting to see. And, Silksong is going to be great. There's no doubt in my mind that Silksong will be a good game. But with all these extra eyes on it, they may not even know Hollow Knight for its glory, or maybe only know that it's a popular game, but not know why. They may jump in and criticize it. So I bring all this to say that if we have that day where it releases, and what if these other people just come in and whatever, it's not that, oh, this is the hype game, we've seen it before. If you think about some of the most major games in the last few years, I think of Tears of the Kingdom, and I think of Spider-Man 2. Those were the biggest games of last year, right? And those were 2 major sequels with a lot of hype built around them. And it seems like, all right, if you ask me, I think Tears of the Kingdom is amazing. I think it's a great sequel. I think that there's a world where if that would have been DLC like they wanted, it could have been a better impact, and it could have been, because now people are split, like Breath of the Wild versus Tears of the Kingdom. They want to put them against each other. But I'm like, if they would have just been merged together, I think it would have been so amazing. But so now there's the 50-50. Half the people think Tears of the Kingdom is not that worthy of a game. You know what I mean? Or they think it's worthy of a game, but it didn't live up to the hype. It didn't exceed what Breath of the Wild had already laid down. And then you got Spider-Man 2, right? That I don't even know like what the community perception of Spider-Man 2 is. I'll just say my own perception of it. Great game, cinematic game, amazing. It reminded me of old school sequels where it's just like it's doing the same exact thing. It adds some cool new features, but at the same time, I played Spider-Man 1 a lot. I wanted to replay it. Spider-Man 2 has no replayability to me. There's nothing calling me back to it. Maybe in a few years I'll be more interested in it. And that's very detrimental to it. Makes me kind of judge Spider-Man 2 quite a bit. Just like, oh yeah, like this game came and went way too quickly. And it makes me worried that Silksong could face some of the things that Tears of the Kingdom and Spider-Man 2 has faced, because people are harsh. People are harsh online, especially with those games that they loved and that they hyped up for 4 years, And it's just interesting. So it's like, what are they going to do? It's like, as far as I know with Silksong, it's been very so with the information they've given us, it does seem to parallel Hollow Knight very well, and that can be a very good thing, like Spider-Man 2, of it's gonna give you the same thing and want, and it's gonna add some new stuff, but it's gonna be the 2.0 version of Hollow Knight. It's just the upgrade. But then there's that problem. That Tears of the Kingdom faced that problem by reusing the same world and stuff like that, and it just felt like they use the same exact structure, and it seems like that was the detriment to Tears of the Kingdom. So it's like, I do worry about Hollow Knight being with like Lace being like a Hornet-like character. I hope that it's just not the same. There's a final boss, but there's a new secret. I hope they don't do the same exact things. I hope there's plot twists per se, or there's a lot of surprising things in it. I don't know, and then but my last point of all this is that I think game development time is affecting the community perception as well, because back in the day we used to have a lot less time in between sequels. There would be 2 to 3 years at most. Like 3 years was a long time. It seemed like a lot of games were getting a sequel like the next year, but 2 years was like for the big games. They would take their time, and 2 years seemed to be the time that they would take. But now we're getting these 6-7 year waits, on everything. It's not just Silksong and indie games. It's Tears of the King, Zelda, Spider-Man, all this stuff. Last of Us, like so much time in between sequels and stuff that it's like, God, these people, it really leaves us on our own, and to kind of, love and maybe eventually hate the games, and think that they might be something that they're not. And I just think that the previous generation didn't deal with that as much, and it's interesting. So it's like, I don't know how we combat that. Games aren't getting built faster now; they're getting built way slower. And if that's a quality thing, we're all for it. We always want that. But does the perception get affected by it? Does that affect the marketing in the long run of it? But it's interesting. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, and I guess my last question, I guess the question to end all this with is like, how do you think Silksong is going to follow up Hollow Knight, and the perception that we've built around Hollow Knight, and the perception that that we have of Silksong already? Like, how do you think it's going to follow up like the thing that we love so much? Like, what do you guys like? I don't know. I guess the structure is everything to me. Like, is it gonna feel the same? Like, how is the whole gameplay element of it just gonna seem like a different game? And is it gonna seem like do you think it should seem like a different game, or should it follow up with what we know and just make that just better, just fine tuning everything. I don't know. What do you guys think? Either way, I'm so excited for Silksong. I know it's gonna be a good game. I just do worry that like the community doesn't like, I just wonder if the community is gonna turn on it like they did for Tears of the Kingdom and potentially Spider-Man 2 as well, because I kind of turned on Spider-Man and after the month of playing it, and I don't know, it's just weird, it's just weird waiting so long and then getting it and then like a month later being like, oh wow, I waited 4 or 5 years for that and now it just feels like it's over. I don't want that to happen with Silksong at all, and I hope that there isn't a large group of people that persuade people into thinking it's a bad game because it didn't live up to their expectations, even though the community is more than happy with it. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Just wanted to do a little different type of video and do some discussion with you guys. But hope you have a good one, and I'll see you guys Monday when we hopefully get Silksong. Bye.